I'm Ben Saltzman with Touched and Transformed, and if you're here, you're probably a coach and you're interested in doing deeper level emotional and spiritual transformational work with your clients. You're interested in touching more souls, and frankly, you want to generate more income. You want a little more flow of abundance in your business. In this two-part series, we'll jump into coaching to spiritual evolution with the Enneagram. This is video 1 of this two-part series. So as a coach, you may recognize some of these issues. You work with clients and you get some shift in their behaviors, but they backslide. It doesn't stick. Or you get triggered while you're in coaching sessions with the clients and you know you're not doing your best coaching when you're getting triggered. Or some personality types you can work with well and it's easy to understand them and help them shift and change, but others you really just don't understand. You don't get their world, and you want to be able to work with all the personality types. Or maybe you're spending a lot of time marketing and selling as a coach and you really want to be doing coaching. So if any of these sound familiar to you, know that you're in good company. That many coaches that we train wrestle with these. I've wrestled with these myself. And I've got a system here that we call the Enneagram that can resolve many of these issues. And I feel like it's gold. Like I'm going to give you something that is very precious here. And I'm excited to see both what it's like for you to engage with it and the results that you can get. Now, we found that when coaches use this system for their own personal development as well as working with their clients, they become much more confident that they can deliver life-changing results. And if you don't know your Enneagram personality type yet, there's 9 personality types on the Enneagram. If you don't know yours yet, there will be a link on this page where you can go and take our online assessment. And in about 5 minutes, you'll get a good sense for which personality type you are. This video 1, has 2 sections, and in the first section we'll talk about what is the Enneagram and explore the symbol and how does it work. And in the second section we'll get into what are the common mistakes, the roadblocks that coaches face. Now before we jump into that material, I'm going to introduce you to 2 of my favorite clients. These will be examples that will follow through the exploration, will follow through their own transformation. As we learn about the Enneagram and as we learn about coaching clients, they'll serve as our examples through these 2 videos, so you can follow along with them as they evolve and grow. First, I want to introduce you to Sarah. She's a beautiful soul. She is a seminar leader and a coach, and she works with people who are creatives, who have a creative flair, and they want to bring their creativity out into the business world and start making money with it. Now, when Sarah first came to me, she had issues around selling and money. So it was hard for her to sell and enroll clients, particularly from the stage in her seminars. And there was this ongoing scrambling for money. Like she knew what the bills were and how much was going to be coming in, and they didn't always equal out. So every month there was, how am I going to generate enough money to actually pay the bills? And the debt was sometimes getting larger and sometimes staying where it was. There was not a sense of financial stability when we started the work. And so the question comes up as a coach, how do you work with this? What do you do to support change and transformation for Sarah? Now, our second example is Jeff, and Jeff is a partner, one of 4 partners in a firm, and he's got an issue in that he can't get things done. And Ellis, the founder of the organization, won't seem to let him, won't meet with him often. He's a bottleneck for trying to push things through. My client Jeff feels awkward. Does Ellis like me? Am I doing my job well? He's kind of caught in a push-pull between trying to get things done and with Ellis not meeting with him often, he's ripsawed back and forth. And the question comes up again, as a coach, how do you support somebody in this situation? He's feeling shaky. His self-confidence is on the line here. What are we going to do with this client? So we'll follow our 2 heroes through this journey as we learn about the Enneagram and our coaching. So let's get into the Enneagram itself. The Enneagram is a psycho-spiritual transformational juggernaut. I mean, this thing brings a lot of heat, a lot of transformational juice to whoever uses it. And I'll put the symbol up here. You can see there are 9 types laid out around the symbol, almost like the numbers on a clock. numbered 1 through 9, 9 at the very top. Each type gets its own number and its own name. I know the symbol might seem scary to you, but believe me, for hundreds of years, it's been used for positive growth, spiritual evolution. We use it with a lot of care and love to support people in their growth and transformation for bottom line, tangible results. I want to share quickly about my Enneagram type so you get the power of the Enneagram and how it's unfolded in my life. So currently, I'm very well paid as a coach. I work with executives, CEOs, entrepreneurs, superior court judges. A lot of who's who comes into my door. But it wasn't always this way. When I first started, I was a young type 7. So my Enneagram type is type 7. And 7s can be a little flighty. We can be a little avoidant of depth or intensity or pain or sorrow or anger. And we kind of skim along the surface of life. Now, often this makes people go, are you going to be here? Can I trust you? Can you hold my depth? Because you don't seem to be able to hold your depth. And you can imagine they're not really likely to sign up for you. They're not really likely to do deeper level work if they can feel this shallowness in your being. Follow me here? So I discover my Enneagram type, I do the deep dive, I go through the transformational journey, and I find my depth, I find my ground, I find my pain and move through that. I develop the capacity to hold other people in their depth and in their pain. And people start to trust me more. They come back and after a couple of years, Ben, it feels like you've got so much more ground underneath you. Like no matter what happens in the room at your events, or no matter what happens with me as a coach, as a client, you've got me. And that's the vibe that I want to put off, is I've got you. And they feel it, and I don't have to say it. And they refer their friends and their family members and their coworkers to me. And I want that kind of shift for you, because whatever type you are, there's unconscious ways that you are pushing people away from you. There's fears that you have, unconscious biases that you have, weird belief structures that are underneath the surface that the Enneagram will help bring to the surface for your own transformation and change. And as you move through that transformation and change, you become much more available. Other people lean towards you. Like, I don't know what you've got, but I want some of that. And that's what I want for you. I want your own journey to support your business and to support your coaching. So my belief is the Enneagram can be critical, crucial, transformational for you as a coach. As an example, we have Enneagram type 8s who are a strong personality. They bring a lot of heat. They do anger. Other people are often intimidated by them. Even if they're coaches, other people are intimidated by them. And this pushes people away. So as 8s evolve and grow, they soften. Instead of blasting people, they drop into their own being. They attune to the people in their lives so that if they're too much, they can adjust the intensity level so other people can feel, I'm relaxed in your presence. And then the beautiful quality that 8s have of being able to empower other people becomes a gift that the world can receive. So you get the feel here, each type has beautiful gifts, amazing gifts that they can bring to the world, but with the type in the way, they can't bring them. And as we do our developmental work around our Enneagram type, we can bring those gifts with a more direct expression without all the hoo-ha getting in the way. So I'm hoping that you're starting to get that for every type, there are some wild behaviors that are underneath that we can work through and that we can bring out the essence of that type. And this is very attractive to other humans. This is good for business. Each type also has fears that drive their behavior. And you'll see that in the webinar. It'll give you a chance to understand all the types in more depth. And we'll also talk about some of the celebrities and what are their types. Each type also has some hidden fears that drive their behavior, their unconscious fears. And in the webinar, we'll jump into what are the worst fears for each type. So you get a feel for each of the types and how those fears actually show up in your coaching sessions and cause havoc. So let's get into the roadblocks that coaches face and how the Enneagram helps resolve them. And remember, for some of these, we'll have Sarah and Jeff as our examples to kind of talk us through how the roadblocks actually manifest in our clients. So first roadblock is, it ain't deep enough. The work doesn't go deep enough. You give them your pearls of wisdom. You've taught these clients a new way that you are sure if they just implement this, if they just do it this way, their lives will open, their businesses will change, their relationships will go to new levels of depth and transformation. And maybe they do it once or twice, and it might even work, but they backslide. They don't keep doing it. They go back to old behaviors. And you're like, it's crushing as a coach. I gave you the gold. What happened? So we're going to use Sarah as an example of this one. Now remember, Sarah was having trouble selling one-on-one and from the stage. And she went and got what we call surface level coaching, which often works. Somebody told her, these are the phrases to use. Here's how you sell from the stage. Here's how you handle rejections. Here's how you sell one-on-one. And she got a little bit of increase, kind of a blip of increase, a little bit more income, but it really wasn't transformational. Luckily for Sarah, we have the Enneagram. So we discover that Sarah is an Enneagram type 4. Now, Sarah, like many of the type 4s, there's self-worth issues underneath. I'm not really sure if I matter, if I'm valuable enough. I feel different. So the 4s are often running language like, well, I can have this, but not that. I'm on the outside and I don't really know what you all are talking about, and I'm different and broken in some way. People can feel this. People can feel this when she's selling from the stage, and people can feel this in enrollment conversations. When they feel this, what do you think happens? They don't sign up. They don't want to work with her. So you get the idea here. Our unconscious beliefs and motivations are messing things up, keeping us from having what we want in the world. Now Sarah discovers this. Her unconscious motivations and fears come up into the level of consciousness, and this gives her some relief from it, some freedom from it. Sales go up some, but still, this isn't the level of transformation and change that we really want. And as we move through this 2-video series, you'll learn in the second video about some of the methods and techniques that we use. We'll also have some in the webinar, so make sure that you stay tuned for those. The next roadblock we run into is your clients have a lot of self-judgment. You may have noticed this. They judge themselves for being too small and weak, or too shy, or they judge themselves for being too big, too aggressive, too authoritarian, or they judge them. I mean, the judgments can go on and on and on. You know what I'm saying here, right? What happens when we have that self-judgment? We start to contract. We start to play small. We stop taking risks. We don't be the bold, beautiful expressions that is possible for us. So I run into some of this self-judgment with my client, Jeff. Remember, he was one of 4 principals in the organization. He had positional power, but he's not making decisions. He is contracted back. He's not being bold. And I start to get curious, what's going on for Jeff? Why is it that he's not really bringing himself forward? What's happening for him? And we discover that he is a type 6 on the Enneagram, called the loyal skeptic. And type 6s live in a world where there's a lot of hazards and dangers. And if you get too big, if you take too much power, somebody's going to cut you down. Somebody will take you out. Now that's unconscious, it's built into the nervous system, but he doesn't know that it's running things because we barely know ourselves what our thoughts or feelings or emotions are. So this unconscious material is running him, and it has him feeling like he can't go out there and make things happen, that he's got to kind of check it out and get a lot of permission from the other authorities and kind of bounce things off of a lot of people before he gets into action, and it really limits his expression. There's self-doubt underneath for the 6s. Can I really do this? So again, he starts to see these doubts. He starts to see these beliefs. He starts to understand his fears. The Enneagram brings the unconscious material into the conscious world, and he starts to get more shift. He starts to understand what's going on, and he starts to get a little bit bolder. He starts to kind of feel himself a little bit, which is nice. Like, thank God that this is happening for him. But again, it's not full transformation. There's still a deeper something that wants to happen for Jeff, so he can totally own his power and bring it. And again, in video 2 and in the webinar, we'll discover what that shift is and what are the coaching techniques that you can use as a coach to bring that to your clients. Now, luckily, one of the gifts of the Enneagram is that you can see all these weird beliefs and fears and awkwardness that you're creating in the world, and you don't judge yourself anymore because it's not just you, it's your Enneagram personality type. Like, there's a whole bunch of other people that are doing the exact same weird contorted dance inside that you're doing. And it lets you off the hook. It means you don't have to take it so personally. It's one of the beautiful gifts that the Enneagram gives us in terms of our own self-acceptance. That we just get to come to grips with the things that we didn't really want to see in ourselves, or maybe we thought we were crazy that we were thinking that way. Like, it's just your type. You're good. You're okay here. So next issue that coaches face, they get triggered in session. Now, if you've been coaching for a while, you might know what I'm talking about here. You're sitting across from your client and they're bringing something up to you, and something in them triggers you, meaning you get emotionally unstable a little bit or distracted, or maybe they have an issue that you have. Because whatever it is that you are working on, if it's up for you, the next three or four clients that you get, they're gonna have that issue. And I had a coach, and she was having an affair. And the next 3 clients that showed up were all wrestling with affairs. So she's trying to coach them, and while she's like inside wrestling with, what am I doing around this? So you have issues around charging what you're worth. All of a sudden, clients are gonna start showing up that are having self-doubt. They're having money issues. And as you're talking to them, often you're getting triggered in your own stuff in live time. This is a problem. So what the Enneagram gives you is a quick access into what's going on for you so that you can resolve it, so you're not getting so triggered when you're sitting there with these clients that are having the same issue that you had a couple months ago. You're staying a couple steps ahead of them so you have something to offer them. Because you know when you're triggered, you're not doing great coaching. You're doing subpar coaching, and it's costing you and it's costing your clients in time, energy, and money. So please, when you start using the Enneagram, don't just use it on your clients. Use it on yourself first and primary, so that you can stay a couple steps ahead of your clients, so that when you're working with them, you can bring the best coaching possible to your clients. Next issue that we face as coaches, some clients we understand, we can work with them. Some clients, we don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're like a foreign species or something. Like, we don't understand their thought process. We don't understand the issues that they're wrestling with. These ones, yes, these ones, Now that's a problem, because if we can only work with a couple of the types on the Enneagram, 2, 3 types out of 9, that means there's 4, 5, 6 types we can't work with. This is an issue. Once you really understand all the types, what drives them, what motivates them, what their path of development is, you can work with anyone. When they walk through that door, you can feel confident, I can deliver life-changing coaching to you. How's that sound? Does that sound like something you're interested in? That's part of the gold I was telling you earlier. I feel like I've got gold for you. This is part of that gold. No matter who walks through that door, unless they're clinically depressed or a multiple personality, something, like some real deep fissure has happened in their lives. If it's about their personality, I've got them. And the coaches that we've trained, they can work with all the personality types. And I want that for you. Does that sound good? Because once we understand them, they're no longer crazy. Everyone occurs as sane. That's big for you as a coach. Your client wants you to relate to them as if they are sane. Yeah, they've got a unique view. Yeah, they're running some weird stuff. But on a fundamental level, you will get them in a way that they feel understood. It's huge. It's transformational. The next roadblock we're going to get into here is you're spending too much time marketing and selling as a coach. We typically got into coaching because we want to coach a lot. And it was like, we have to market? What? I've got to go out and actually enroll people and talk about my services, which feels a little awkward, and I have to spend a bunch of time doing this, and I don't like selling conversations, and for many coaches, selling feels weird and awkward. So we really don't want to be spending a bunch of our time marketing and selling. We want to be spending our time coaching. And this is an issue that the Enneagram can help with tremendously. And we'll get into how in the next video. This next roadblock is for coaches who have been doing coaching for quite a while. And what we sometimes find is with veteran coaches, they've been at it for years, they start to flatline. It starts to feel a little repetitive. They're not as juiced about what they're doing. Yeah, I've been here, done that. Clients all start to look the same, they start to blur. And we have lost our passion for the work. And I've gone through this myself in the past. I know what this is like. And what we really want is we want to be juiced. We want some excitement for this. We want to be waking up in the morning being like, yeah, I get to go coach. I get to go do some like juicy transformational work with people. Would you like some of that? A little bit more juice, a little bit more excitement. And in the webinar, so this is video 1, you'll watch video 2 tomorrow, and then the webinar. In the webinar, we'll make an offer for you for our Enneagram and Shadow Coach training. And what we find is that people who jump into that program, they become part of a community that's fired up on learning how to coach and do this deeper level work. And they're meeting every so often, they're meeting virtually, they're kind of in the mix together, and you get some of that excitement, some of that juice. So some of you old salty dogs who have seen it all, you can re-inject some passion into your work. And the last roadblock that we're going to talk about today is, as a coach, and really as a member of the human race, you are seeing more and more that there are forces out there that would divide us, that would separate us, that in the political arena, that on social platforms, there are a lot of people using fear and positioning us versus them. The language, the discourse out there is divisive, and you don't want to be part of creating that. You know that the fabric of our society is starting to fray, that there's more violence, that there's more of this antagonism out there, and you don't want to be part of that because it's causing havoc. You want to be part of the solution. You want to be part of doing it in a different way. And I tell you, the Enneagram, particularly the way that we use it, is a force to bring people together. It's a force for revealing. It's a force for bringing heart. For bringing connection. For having us say to one another, I see you. I get you. At some fundamental level, I am you. And all of the craziness that you have running inside, that's all right. I got passion and compassion for you. So the Enneagram brings us together, strips away the layers of how we're different or weird or distant from each other. It's like there's something common in there, there's some humanity in there. And when we use the Enneagram as part of our heart opening, as part of our spiritual evolution, and we do this in some kind of community situation, magic happens. So I want to have a bunch of really well-trained coaches that are out there doing this work so that the fabric of our societies comes together, so that our hearts open to one another with more ease, so that you can be part of the solution. That's the final roadblock. How's that sound? So all of those issues that we mentioned up there are really common for coaches who are heart open, spiritually evolving, caring souls. And we've found that the Enneagram helps resolve all of them. So if you have any of those that you're wrestling with, we've got something here for you. In our 2 decades of supporting coaches to learn how to use the Enneagram, we've found that it brings a new level of precision and insight to the work. And I want you to hear now from Jean Morrison, who has recently learned the Enneagram and is using it in her practice. She says, "Now that I have a system in my toolbox, I can quickly get to the basic patterns and core levels of needs and strategies. I can help couples and individuals develop new strategies that are more effective in getting what they want and in keeping the relationship healthy. This system is also helpful in the empathy process. I can more deeply connect with the core needs of my clients." So would you like to know more about the Enneagram, about how you can use it for your own evolution and growth, how you can use it to sort through all the stuff that your clients throw at you to get to the core, to the essence of who they are and what they can become? In our next video, we'll deep dive into this. I will act out a couple of the types and I ham it up. So it's a fun romp there. We've got an infographic, a handout that has the critical transformations by type. So you'll learn what are the specific transformations, what's the critical path for each of these 9 types. And we'll dive into what are some of the advanced coaching methods and how do you apply them in your life. And of course, we'll follow Sarah and Jeff through their transformations and their changes so you get the feel for what they wrestle with and what's the resolution. How are their lives better on the backside of the coaching and the transformation? That's part 2 of the masterclass, and remember we've also got the webinar coming up, and in the webinar we'll dive into the worst fears for each of the types, we'll unpack some celebrities and what types are they, and you'll learn the 3 biggest issues that coaches face that keep them from doing heart-opening, mind-expanding, reality-bending coaching. And what do you do about those issues if you're wrestling with them? So if you have not signed up for the webinar, please find the link on this page and sign up for the webinar. And I'll see you tomorrow for video 2.